Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. Jessica McGovern, international multi-award winning portrait photographer. I'm here today to talk to you about another 5-Minute Friday. So shall we talk about what that is? Why not? So today I'm going to be putting a video out for you guys, and if you're new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the bell icon as well, because you might as well. The bell icon will give you a notification every single time I release a YouTube video, which is every single week on a Friday at 12 noon UK time. But you're welcome from anywhere, because if you're here, you just want to help your photography, and I'm here for that, and I'm here to help, and that's what we do. So today we're actually answering a request that frequently pops up in the request box and always tends to come up on online editing one-to-ones that we do. And what that question relates to is exporting issues. So how do you export an image from Photoshop if it's in a different color profile, in a way that's not going to compress it horrendously, cause banding, cause image degradation and compression issues? How do you do that? And there are more than a million ways to skin a cat in Photoshop's case, which is not even a real saying, but it kind of is, and I merged it into one, and I'm okay with that. But today I'm going to show you exactly what I do to save out my images from Photoshop. Okay, so let's get that timer started. 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Okay, so you're joining me with this picture of Viva, which we already looked at the other week. So if you've not seen that video, it was about how do you remove the halter from this shot, essentially, because there's a halter in a line, the horse obviously isn't loose, and we did that in a different video. So today what we're going to do is we're going to export this edited image in a way that's not going to cause any issues, no color issues, no color changing issues, nothing like that. Now, the one exception to the color changing issue situation is if you use really bright studio backgrounds. That's going to be your only glitch point, where you're probably going to see a shift between Adobe RGB, ProPhoto RGB and sRGB when you export out, if you follow the method I'm going to go through today. But for general situations, it's only happened to me probably once or twice in my whole history of being a photographer, which is hundreds of thousands of images, if not more than that, and multiple awards. It's only ever happened to me twice that I've had a noticeable shift with my colors when I follow this exporting process. So it's not going to be the catch-all for everything. I can't say it's 100% foolproof, but it's probably 99.99999% safe. Okay, so we're here in the image. I'm finished, but important point to note, down here in the bottom corner, you can see that the image is in Adobe RGB 1998 16-bit. Okay, so those are related. The Adobe RGB part is a color profile, and the 16-bit is a bit depth. Most situations that you will encounter as a photographer need sRGB. Okay, most printers use sRGB, and the whole internet works in sRGB. So if you're exporting an image and it doesn't have a profile attached to it, which is one common mistake which we'll go through, or if you're exporting in a color profile and embedding it and it's Adobe RGB or ProPhoto RGB, and then you upload it online and the colors look real weird and it's gone a bit green and flat and gross, that's because you're in the wrong color profile. So stop what you're doing. Let's get this right from start to finish. Now, very quick point is that you can set all of what I'm about to do up as an action, which is already available for the MTOGs. It has been for a while. So that's in your TPS core action pack for the premium members. I will link down to the blog post that has those actions in it below, because it's not this one, but you do have those available. That is TPS JPEG prep, and then the 2000 pixel longest side social resize. So either or will get you to the same result. What we need to do though is we've got our layers, right? Most of the time you're going to have layers available. You will have layers in the image because you've been working in Photoshop. So it doesn't matter how many layers you have, you're probably gonna have layers. And the first thing that you need to do when you're happy and you're finished with your edit and you've saved it out if you want to with all of its layers intact, is you need to flatten the heck out of this picture, right? It needs to be flat as a dodo with a background layer that's locked. So we're going to right click on one of the layers and we're going to go right the way down here to flatten image. That's going to give us a background layer with the padlock on. So we've done step one, check. Then what we need to do is assess our bit depth and our color profile situation. I always Always, 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 always do bit depth first, because SRGB does not play nicely with 16-bit. So you might as well switch it straight away up front into 8-bit where it's nice and safe, and then turn it into SRGB. That will be a better process. But you need to make sure you flattened it, because otherwise you'll get banding in your layers. So we go up into the image section, we go into mode, and we go to 8 bits, which switches the image over into an 8-bit system. Okay, so there's now half the amount of bit depth in the image. Now what we need to do is convert this to the sRGB color profile. Super easy, but often done wrong. So we go into edit, okay, top menu, and then we go down to convert to profile. Please note that there is an assign profile immediately above. Do not click that. X, oops, wrong one. Don't click assign profile. It is wrong. It is not going to fix the situation. It will make it worse. Convert to profile is where we need to be. Then in the convert to profile window, we want to make sure that the destination space is set up as sRGB with all of the things, .2.1. Then you want to set your bottom bits down here, really, however you want. If you're seeing a noticeable color shift at this point with the preview button turned on, then have a play with these options down here. However, for 99.99999% of all cases, this is my settings. I use the Adobe engine, I have relative colorimetric, I use black point compensation, and no dither. And then I click OK. And that now is an sRGB 8-bit file, aka a JPEG, right? So it's a JPEG. If you want to, you can go ahead and check your image size, and if needed, change the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. This is a high-res JPEG. It can be saved out now as a high-res JPEG, okay? What about for social media, Jess? What about if I want to put it on my IG? What about if I want to put it on Facebook? What about whatever the heck, right? If you want to put it on your website, I don't care what you want to do with it, that's fine, but this is going to be humongous, depending on how much you've cropped it. Hopefully not a lot if you've done your composition correctly. There's a video on shooting with correct composition, I'll link that above. If you want to put it on your socials, we go into image, we go into image size, we go into the resolution, and we go ahead and change that to 72, and then we change the width to 2000, because 2000 pixels works best for most situations. So we have this set up, we click OK, and that, my friends, is now your social media sized file. So you can bang a watermark on it. We've got a video on how to do that. I will link that above because, you know, I'm here to help. And then you save that one out as you would normally. But how would you save these out? Because we've missed a step here in essence, because we've not embedded anything. Easy peasy. With either your high res or this version, we go ahead and we do file, we do save as. In save as, you find your folder, title it as you want to. I'm just going to call it Viva Social. And then in the format, we change that to a JPEG. If you don't have JPEG there, your bit depth is probably wrong, and you probably haven't flattened your layers. So you've got these things telling you, incorrect. Then you need to make sure that you've got your embed color profile checked. It must be ticked, and then click save. Then in this section for social media, you want to be on progressive, and wiggle this down to get below 1000 or below 1, depending on whichever you can see. This is fine. If you want a high-res JPEG, just pop it in baseline and switch it up to the maximum quality. Those are your two alterations for the export settings. So social, progressive, underneath 1, high-res, baseline, all the way up to 12 on the quality there. Okay, so those are your two shifts. No other change needs to happen. That image is now perfectly color profiled, bit depth, saved out, with an embedded profile in it at the right resolution for all of your needs. That's it. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If it was, please do let me know. It's just the way that I do it. Everybody has their own kind of way of doing it. I prefer doing it like this and using the export as functions because I feel like they mess with a little bit too much for my liking. So I like to have full control over all of these steps. You can do pretty much the exact same thing over in Lightroom when you run your exports. In Lightroom Classic, we do have an online course for Lightroom Classic for beginners, which runs through everything you might need in Lightroom, including your exporting. So that is available if required. That's the video for today. Any questions, drop them down in the comments. I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you next week for another video. Ciao.